Hi, this is Thea Lightweaver, and this is my first time doing a video where I'm actually talking. Usually I'm just doing some kind of like abstract, artsy music type thing when I'm feeling inspired, but I have decided to start a series of videos based off of deities like goddesses and gods and different mythological beings, spiritual beings that I have come to work with in my magical practice. For those of you who don't know me personally, I have been studying occultism and magic and witchcraft, hoodoo and ancient practices. I've explored Hinduism and Buddhism and soul travel and Ekankar. I have a lot of experience at this point connecting with deities. Specifically, I've been very drawn to working with goddesses, which is mainly what I'll talk about, but I'll include some male deities as well. So through studying soul travel, which is a form of out-of-body movement, I have discovered many of my past lives where I was a priestess. I was a priestess in ancient Egypt and Atlantis. And to go beyond just, the limited view of past, future lives, I have a current parallel life on a planet orbiting Sirius B, which is where the Atlantis and Egyptian civilizations have come from. They're very inspired by this star system, and the deities are thought to have migrated here to our planet to help us out. But that's a long story, which I may get into in another video sometime. So I wanted to explain what it means to be a priestess. I've seen so much stuff about that online today, and it can mean something different to everyone. But the general guidelines are that a priestess is, and this goes for men as well, and like druids and souls like that. So being a priest, that means that you are an intermediary for spirit. So you are the connecting pathway between spirit and the culture that you're in, for your community, for people on the physical realm. So a priestess is someone who learns to tap into higher energies and to be a doorway for this energy to go through, and then it's a priestess's job to translate messages from spirit for people, for their community. It's their responsibility to keep this communication and this pathway connected to the highest vibrational beings that there are, to the highest planes of existence. You don't want to be a priestess for some things that are basically going to destroy the world around you or destroy people, because it's a big responsibility. In the matrix of this world, the negative forces are trying to find doorways to enter and kind of be a destructive force. And so people can choose to either be an expression for dark, lower vibrational energies or of spirit. And dark doesn't always have to just mean negative, by the way. But when I'm saying dark here, I just mean that energy that just does not feel good. It's destructive. It's gonna break things down, which sometimes we need to do. Shiva, Kali, those kind of deities, but they do that to break down things that need to go because they're not serving the highest good anymore. My experience from my past lives just kind of make it natural that this is what I'm drawn to and what I'm meant to kind of talk about and teach people about. Throughout my past lives, there's been many deities that I've worked with. There is one constant through this because, in different cultures, different civilizations, different collections of souls in a certain area, they'll need a certain type of energy or a certain message or something that they're working on, that their spirit has come down to earth to work on. And so that will bring in a certain kind of deity that's there to help people. But the one constant theme is that a priestess or priest needs to be a living temple for deity. So they need to be the way, the gate. They need to keep their gate open, keep their heart open, just keep the lines of communication open for deity to get through. Even if you don't specifically remember your past lives, when you've had many past lives in a particular profession, or studying a particular area, or you always, like in my case, I've many lifetimes have been a priestess. I mean, of course, it hasn't always been like that. I mean, I had impoverished, like, horrible lifetimes too. So I'm not trying to say I'm some exalted like priestess or something. I've been through some stuff. But if you've spent a lot of your soul experience in a certain area throughout the ages, you will be drawn to that again in this life, because it's just in you, like you've developed it. And this kind of thing, it can't just disappear, like energy doesn't disappear. So if you find yourself in this life and you're really drawn to, like, a certain spiritual practice or a certain religion, or I mean, even things like, music or art or math, or children, or any kind of thing, I mean, if it's a real strong urge and you just know that it's your calling, this is, most of the time, it is stemmed in past life karmas. And so that was a way for me to know, like, because I've studied like past lives a lot, and I've seen mine, and my interests are all like pulling me there. So I'm just like, okay, I give in. Like, I'm just gonna follow this. I'm gonna see where it leads me. And it's gotten very, very interesting. I've made quite a bit of connections with the deities over the years, and I feel like I wanted to share my experiences. So when I felt like a certain deity was calling me, or I would suddenly dream of one that I didn't know anything about, I would start to research. We have the internet, there's so many good books out there. The kind of things that I was finding, I would sometimes just find a couple paragraphs about some mythology, but there just kind of felt like this huge gap of things that I wish that I could have found, like online or some way. And I just kind of wanted to put out my own experiences in case it might help anyone along their spiritual path, I guess. But one other helpful thing that I did find were correspondences. So I have this really amazing book. Actually, I'm going to show it to you. So I found this really amazing book. It's called Complete Book of Correspondences by Sandra Kynes. I think that's how you pronounce it. It lists a lot of different deities in here, and it lists correspondences, so things that symbolize who they are and their energy. And this sort of thing is very helpful for when you are building an altar and kind of just building your relationship with the deity. You want to use things that they like. Think of it like this: if someone wanted us to start a relationship with you, and they wanted to lure you in, and they wanted to show you that they care about you and your feelings and your interests, they may give you gifts. They may, kind of find out what you like first, because if they give you a gift and it's like something you don't like or you don't do, it means like, okay, thanks. So when you're working with the deity and you want their energy around you, you want their protection or their guidance or their magic, you want them to help you, what you want to do is you want to build an altar for them. So for what I've done, like what I found that works really well, is I'll find a statue of them if I can afford it, if it's not too expensive. If not, then like just print out a photo of them and put it in a frame, and then I'll look at the correspondences and I'll find things that they like certain colors, certain fragrances, certain flowers, if they have a energetic connection with certain days of the week or certain moon phases, certain times of year. You use all of these things to contact them. So another thing to think about if you're going to use a statue, which is a really cool thing that I learned from people who study the Eastern faiths, put this deity on your altar. You set your intention. You put all the correspondences around them. You put all of your mental energy into developing a relationship. You put a lot of your waking hours into it. Before you go to bed, you ask to give me dreams about them. And you light a candle in front of them and you meditate, and you close your eyes and you surrender, and you just, you surrender, and you may just imagine their image. You may think of one thing that they represent, and then you just let go. It doesn't have to be, the more you try, the more you can block the experience, because our egos can get in the way. But you set your intention, and then you let go. And then when you do that, what happens with this statue is the energy of this deity will actually come and sit inside of the statue. So your altar becomes a power spot. Certain traditions say that certain deities need to face certain directions. You just want to look up the correspondences on who you're working with. One secret that I have learned from Hindu religion, you never have two of the same deity on your altar, because it can either anger them or just kind of confuse the energy. So you just need one, because they're going to sit in one representation of themselves, and the energy will be concentrated on this point, this power point. This is really going to radiate out and just protect your home and you and your consciousness, and give you this safety and comfort that's truly amazing. This place is going to hold such transformative energy from this deity. And one thing I want to say is that there are some teachers out there, some spiritualists, who will tell you that gods and goddesses aren't real beings. They are just maybe our higher self, or some kind of an archetype, or they're really us. They're us, and we're just having to learn who we are, or we're going to be, we're going to realize that we're them. So in my experience, that has not been the case. I know these are real beings. And I just want you to think about something. But imagine that at some point you are going to have learned a lot. Your experiences are going to have helped your soul evolve quite a lot. And there are going to be souls coming behind you that haven't had the experiences that you've had. Just like how a teacher, they go to school, they get their life experiences, their degrees, and then eventually they become a teacher and they teach students. Think of that. Like, these deities once were in our position, and then they evolve and evolve and evolve, and eventually they, if they cross over, or however their mythology goes, eventually it is them who is guiding us, and someday we will evolve and be in their position, and we will be guiding, we will be an elder. So these deities are real. They are guides. They have a consciousness. Some people, there's the whole concept that we're all one, okay, but we're also all unique individual souls with our own unique seed karma. We're all working on our own unique lessons. Our talents are unique to us. Our interests are unique to us. We've all been through our own experiences. So have these deities, and they are real. They're not us. They can guide us. Their essence can be within us. We can be a temple for their presence, but they are individual beings. So in doing my research on deities at first, it was easy to find a few paragraphs about their mythology, their correspondences, or some, meditations that people gave about how to contact them here and there. That can be helpful if you're adept at interpreting symbology. But what I really hungered for was more down-to-earth experiences that people had. I wanted to know at what crossroad in life you would contact certain deities. I wanted to know things like if their mythologies were true or not. I wanted to know why the mythologies that are out there are there. I wanted to know specifically how to establish a relationship with them, and I wanted to know what that would feel like. I mean, I'm a Scorpio moon in Vedic astrology, which is sidereal zodiac. A Scorpio moon in Vedic astrology is someone who's just like digging and digging, and they want to get to the truth of things. For me, because it's in my 12th house, I want to get to the like truth of occultism and magic and everything unseen, the unknown. Like, I just, like, what was out there was just not enough for me. So I needed the experience myself. I need to know these beings. And I mean, Scorpio moon, we want to know, like, when we first meet someone, we're like, if we really want to know that person, we're like, okay, like, we need to have some kind of sexual encounter to like really know the being, because for us it's like, you know, Scorpio, like, sex is like the way to really like touch someone's soul. And the Scorpio moon is just like a moon just like going into this deep pit and like going, because it's, you know, fixed water sign. It's like deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's how I feel about my study of deities and goddesses and gods. So I was able to use soul travel, which I had learned previously years ago, to contact them. And I feel like, and I'm only going to make videos about the ones that I have had direct contact with, that I feel that I know, that have truly guided me. I'm not just gonna, you know, talk about some correspondences. Like, you know, you could get that anywhere. I'm not just gonna say, you know, talk about their mythology. Like, yeah, look it up on Wikipedia. I'm gonna talk about some deep things and my experiences and some messages. I'm gonna do some channeling when I'm called to as well. So also, you know, we are going to someday be way showers and light bearers for the generations behind us. And, you know, someday we are going to have our own realms. We are going to be creating worlds, and some of us are. You know, I mean, I can't claim to know the full mechanics of what's happening, but we are creators, and that is what Spirit wants us to do. That's what our, you know, the source wants us to learn to create. It's like, that's why we're in worlds like this. And just as one day we will be creating, there are creators now. There are beings who are extremely divinely, you know, exalted, and that just want to guide us. And that's what I'm interested in connecting with. And that's what I want to help others connect with. And that's who these deities are. There's certain codes and grids that make up this world. I mean, I've seen it in a lot of different ways in soul travel. I've seen it as like binary code. I've seen it as like knitted like strings of light, which I'll talk about more in my Goddess Isis video. But someone's making this code. Like, someone is writing this out, and we are going through it. And some say it's a classroom, and there, you know, there are levels to go through, their tests. But who's making this stuff, you know? What about all of the negativity and darkness put into these grids and you know, creating this matrix, you know, holding us down, making us slaves, making it a web that we're all kind of stuck in, or a lot of us are stuck in. Overall, it's for our spiritual benefit. We are only going to gain an awareness of ourselves. Every single experience, no matter how horrific, has the one end goal of getting us closer to source. So that's the one thing that we can always remember. No matter how bad it gets, we are being pushed closer to the most pure, like, source. Something that our minds can't even fathom, and we shouldn't even try, really. I mean, you know, sometimes it's silence, you know. So back to goddesses and gods, like, why worship them? You know, some people may think, like, why? Like, I'm equal. I'm equal to them. But no, like, we're not equal to them. They've had more experiences than us. They have they've learned to tap into like their transcendental power, and they want to teach us. So it's, you know, why not just humble ourselves? Like, we can be humbled, and there's something magical about surrendering in that way when it's comfortable, and if you feel called to. You know, they just want to help us to unravel the layers of illusion that we get trapped in, and they want to show us how to get out, because they've done it too. You know, they've figured it out. So let's take advantage of these beautiful beings that are just trying to help us and guide us. And you know, it's a wonderful gift to be called by one. And if you have ever felt a calling like that, explore it. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I just have so much like love and respect for them, and I just want to spread their message, and I want to help people connect with them, because it's just such an amazing experience. Like, and also I want to connect with other people who have had similar experiences, make a network of priestesses and priests and spiritualists, and just anyone with this energy that wants to explore, you know, for just make a nice little community for us to explore this path together. And so this is my first time ever trying to make a video like this. I hope it wasn't too like convoluted and all over the place, because, you know, people who know me know I tend to like ramble a bit. I hope you enjoy my future videos to come with my experiences working with the deities. I hope to post them regularly, but it really depends on when they give me that nudge, because, you know, you do want to keep the gates open and learn to work with this modality and to call it in when needed, but you can't force a goddess to, you know, give you a message right then. So, you know, I'm going to kind of be in the middle here and do what I'm guided to do. I wish you so much love and confidence and inner knowing and connection with source and spirit evolution and everything beautiful. I wish that for you on your path, and just to know that you're always protected and watched over, and always moving toward that higher source no matter what happens. That the end goal is there, and we are always going towards that. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions for certain deities that you'd like me to talk about, I'll leave in the comments below. I will only get to the deities that I actually have had experiences with though, but I will take into consideration your comments, and please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future. And I love you all, and the gods and goddesses love you, and spirit adores you. You wouldn't be here if spirit didn't adore you. So just know that spirit loves you and adores you, and that you are a divine expression, and no one can ever take that from you. Thank you. Bye.